All right, Pet Sematary. So I saw a few movies today. One being Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase, starring Sophia Lillis, our little bevy from the It remake or readaptation. Another Stephen King film there, so apt to bring it up on here. I did not really care for the movie, but Sophia was fantastic as usual as Nancy Drew. It just sucks that the movie was not all that great. But my kids, my 6-year-olds, thought it was great. They're the target audience, so what the fuck do I know? Other thing I saw is I saw Shazam, which I thought was fine. It's just an extended version of the trailer. I didn't feel like I gathered much else from watching the movie that I couldn't have gathered from watching the trailer, and I didn't really connect with any of the characters all that much. So for me, it was a fine watch. My kids liked it. I kind of walked out like, yeah, that was pretty basic, I guess. It just didn't really do anything. So you get a couple mini reviews right there of what I watched today. But let's stick to Pet Sematary. I will preface this by saying a couple things. The first thing is I have never read the novel, which is very odd because I've read so much Stephen King. But the second thing I was going to preface is, and it kind of plays into the reason why I haven't read the novel, is because I don't care for the first movie. In fact, I'm one of those rare people that actually prefers the second movie. I know that immediately loses all credibility for a lot of people listening to me, and that's totally fine, but I want you to know who you're listening to. I like the zaniness of the second one. At least it's out there. It's wild. It's crazy. Clancy Brown's a fucking nutcase in it. I just have a great time watching that movie. The first one, not so much. I've liked it more in recent years. When I watched it not too long ago and I reviewed it on the channel, I was like, it was okay. That was the best review I ever gave it, was an okay. So not a fan of the original. But what intrigued me about this one was that I didn't read the novel, so I don't know how different it was. So I was thinking, well, maybe there will be a lot of changes, you know? And the other thing, the big thing, was that it was from the directors of a movie called Starry Eyes, which was like my favorite horror film of the year that it was released. I even have a poster framed up on my wall of it because I think it's fucking fantastic. And so when I saw they were doing it, I was like, oh, okay. And the trailer, I didn't see the second trailer, the one that was all controversial because they changed something and I had guessed what that was without even watching it. I avoided it because of it, but because of how people were reacting, I was like, I bet I can guess what the change is. And it was that. And I actually support that change, even if it's not what happens in the novel. I'm sure it isn't. I'm not going to say what it is for people who haven't seen that and don't want that spoiled, but I feel like the reason is because of acting range. You know, that's all I'll say. But I understand the decision. I think it was a smart decision. There you go. But yeah, that all being said, did I like this more than the original? Did it change my mind on this book and this franchise? You know, not franchise, but I guess this film series here now? No, because, and this might seem like a weird complaint, because if it is exactly like the book, the original, then it's hard to knock a movie for following a book so closely, but it's almost identical to the original movie. Like, outside of that change, it's really not that big of a change. It's small. It's almost identically the same thing. So I don't really get why there's so much controversy over it. Who cares? Some people do, obviously. But the film is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the original film. Which, as I said, people might roll their eyes at that and be like, oh, you're going to give a movie shit for following the book so closely. So if the original movie follows the book very closely, and this movie doesn't follow suit, I just don't understand what the point of this movie is. It's not as close as, like, Psycho, and there are some changes, but very little. Very little. I mean, if you've seen the original, you've seen this. You get all of the normal things here. You get Judge, you get Church, you get Zelda, you get, you know, it's all here and it's all pretty much exactly the same. Because I didn't like the original very much, I'm obviously not gonna really care for this one. And I think people who love the original are gonna watch this and be like, it's the same fucking movie, just updated, updated. So what's the point? I'll just stick with the original that I love. So I feel like people who don't like the original are going to be bummed out because they're not going to like this for the same reasons. And the people who like the original are just going to be like, I might as well just watch the original. It's the same fucking movie. So this one was kind of a head scratcher for me. Why bring in talent like the directors of Starry Eyes to have them essentially do a shot-for-shot remake of this classic film that a lot of people love? I mean, this is a classic movie. I'm not going to take away from it just because I don't like it. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to, give it its credit as a classic and a revered film in the horror genre and world. I would never do that. It is. It's a classic. People love it. That's fantastic. I'm happy for him. But why? Why remake the movie so similarly? I just don't get that. If the original is almost identical to the novel, people, what were they supposed to do? Not remake it then. Either reimagine it and change it, or don't do the movie. If you're just going to do it like the original, why? I don't understand the point. Money, obviously, is it. I'm not that person. I don't like to ever call something a cash grab because for me, all movies are cash grabs. That's the point of them. That's why producers give money, so that they can make money. But then there are movies like this where it does feel almost shameless. The performances are good. I mean, Jason Clarke and Amy Smeets, or however you say her name, she's actually great in it. Yeah, the performances are fine. Cinematography is great. I like that drum sequence. That was like the first trailer I saw. I liked that sequence. It was like, ooh, that's eerie. That's creepy. That's cool. That's, that's artistic. That's something I thought that the Starry Eyes directors would bring to the film. But even the Pet Cemetery looks exactly the same. Even the path up to the real cemetery looks the same. The house looks the same. The location looks the same. All the lines from characters look the same. The iconic lines, the iconic scenes are all here and they're all redone and they're actually inferior, a lot of them. I don't feel like anything's improved upon here. I don't know. At least this movie does call for cat jump scares. You know how much I hate cat jump scares. But there's a evil cat in this, so there's going to be some jump scares with the cats. The scares in this, I mean, I was in a theater with, people, and no one screamed. No one seemed to be all that nervous. Everyone just kind of walked out like, okay. I didn't feel like I was alone. I've looked at a few of my friends' reactions to it right now. My buddy Alyssa, she said she fucking hated pretty much everything about it except for the closing song. Lee McCoy from Drum Dums feels pretty much the exact same way I do. Bunch of my friends, I've already seen it. Travis Gillespie is like, it was okay. I would never watch it again. It's not good. It's not something to rush out of the theater to see. It's a huge shame. But we got a lot more Stephen King adaptations coming out this year. My most anticipated of those being Dr. Sleep. I cannot fucking wait for that movie. And there's others as well. Into the Tall Grass. I don't know if that's coming out this year or not. And then others as well. So there's more to look forward to with Stephen King this year. But for me, this was a big no. I didn't care for this. Like almost at all. It's very generic. It's very basic. And I just don't see the point of it. I really don't. I'm not going to be repetitive here. They already did that for us. So let me know what you guys thought. Honestly, I didn't have a good day of movies. I watched 3 movies the best of them for me was that was good. That was fine. That was my best of the 3. So not a good day. I'm going to go watch Love, Death, and Robots, which I've really been enjoying. And I was also just watching Santa Clarita Diet Season 3. It's as awesome as Season 1 and 2 so far. As expected. Fucking love that show. If you're not watching that, you need to be watching it. It's such a fun fucking zombie comedy show with Drew Barrymore, Timothy Olyphant. Awesome flick. Awesome show. And Love, Death, Robots, animation, 18 episodes, like 17 to 8 minutes a piece from all different directors. Awesome animation. I've watched 3 episodes so far. I'll talk about it at length at one point. I'm rambling. I wouldn't bother with Pet Sematary. Hate to say that, but wait till it comes out on like disc or something. Don't go to the theater for this. It's really not worth it, in my opinion. All right, guys.